What's going on, YouTube? Today we're going to be talking about the state of the Elder Scrolls Online. It's a requested video that you guys wanted me to cover. I had been kind of avoiding this topic, but wanting to talk about it kind of on the DL because I wanted to kind of let you guys know where my thoughts were on this kind of topic, and I feel as though I have to do a bit of background before I answer that question to you, so please bear with me. I promise this won't be a crazy long intro, but when I started to make Elder Scrolls Online videos, obviously I still worked, and there's the place that I do, Child Protective Services, so my job is stressful, and I always, enjoyed, coming back, playing with the squad, the homies, all you guys, interacting with the community and whatnot, and that's what, kind of encouraged me to make my first Elder Scrolls Online video, because, I was the richest one out of my friends, so I thought, oh, I'll make a gold guide video, I can help a couple people, learn about the intricacies of ESO as well as, a little bit about the market. And my goal throughout that entire time period from then to this video today, including beyond this video, is always going to be to spread positivity and do, as much as I can to help the community. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, Jake, what if something negative was occurring? And it's not that I wouldn't cover it, but I also think, too, that I have a small duty to you guys to, make you excited, to play, a game that, we all play together and do something that we all have in common. My goal is not to make you upset at the developers or upset at the state of anything or a specific update. I don't want you guys to be upset. I always feel like, someone, and probably a lot of you, have stressful things that go on with your day and whatnot. It's nice to come home and unwind by, decorating your house with 900 furnishings and, place every single book in the Elder Scrolls Online, just so that it fits nicely on your library shelf. I always feel like that's a nice little getaway, from everything. So to bring any sort of real-world negativity or sort of developing negativity is never something that I wanted to do, which is why I never really made a negative compilation about Update 35, even though overall those videos got crazy amounts of views, and I probably could have gotten, stupid high revenue off those videos, but it's not my intention when I play ESO to do those types of things. And one of you, or a couple of you actually, had been mentioning if I could go over the state of the ESO, because I think there's this assumption that either the game is dying, or it's not doing well, or the developers don't care anymore. And I at least wanted to kind of, alert you guys to some of the stats out there that you're able to go and look at. The number one being that, Elder Scrolls has passed 20 million total players. They're now at 21.58 total players. They have 204,000, active daily players. The servers are actually, honestly, some of the highest points it's ever been, and it's always so complicated to answer. Then, well, why are people, bashing the game? Why is there all this negativity? And I'll answer that in just 1 minute too. But as far as the longevity of the game, MMOpopulation.com actually ranks the game as growing. It says that the server status is good, the player base is happy, and so I would take that at face value in that those data is correct. Now, that's a very macro level. Let's look at the other level too. What are the individual players that are saying, that might be upset at the game? What's kind of going on with people that's making them upset, and what's kind of, going on to even kind of spark this sort of controversy? Because obviously these videos are kind of popping out of the woodwork about anger at developers or anger at certain other individuals. So what's causing this? And I would say there's a couple things. Namely, I would say that people are upset with the updates in ESO, and that there's all this kind of emphasis on new players, there's all this emphasis on new content that doesn't really seem to impact the end game. What does that mean? So, for example, you could compare like the Somerset upgrade to the High Isle, upgrade, where it's High Isle added a card game. Did that really shake up the end game? Was there a set that you had to grind? Was there a skill line that you had to get, through the through the High Isle skill line? Unfortunately, not really. So a lot of endgame players just looked at it as pointless, or something that, yeah, it's fine if it's in an MMO, but they wanted something that was going to affect, how they grind or how they do different things, especially for those, hard mode contents. Because a common complaint among people who complete hard mode content is that there's no real overarching reason besides score pushing to do it more than once. Or because you'll have the sticker book completed very quickly, you'll probably have your trifecta run, and you'll probably have everything that you'll need. So there's really no reason for you to get on ESO because you feel like you've accomplished everything you've wanted to accomplish. It's not a game like Destiny, for example, where you can go and you can grind and roll for god roll weapons, every single time. There's always something better you could roll for, because Elder Scrolls Online is not set up that way. It's meant to be more user friendly, more grind friendly. It's meant to be more accommodating in that aspect, whereas if you take a break from some games like Destiny, you might miss wholly exclusive weapons that you'll never have access to again. You might miss some like exclusivity, things that you'll just not be able to get, unfortunately, when you come back to ESO. ESO is designed to be a game that you can take a break from, that you can go, take a month off, go to work more than likely based on the average age of my viewing audience, and come back to it. And I think that has a whole lot of pros to it. I think that the way that they've developed the Elder Scrolls Online has tons of pros, and I think it is one of the most easily accessible games to play of any MMO. In fact, comparing it to the other top 10, which ESO is in the top 10 MMOs of all time for current player base, you really start to see what it's compared against, and I would say that it is one of the best games to jump into at any point. You could jump in right now to level 3 and go to any zone. Not even many MMOs are set up like that. If you were interested in jumping into most games, you'd have to grind before you can just go to any zone that you want to go to. The number one example I think about when I think of this is I was really interested in doing the Lord of the Rings MMO online and checking out some of the storylines, but then I realized that I would have to grind 10 to 50 hours before I could even go and experience this new update that they added. And I thought, well, maybe I'll just watch somebody play it on YouTube. ESO is set up differently than that because they want you to always feel like you can go out and do the majority of content, and that you don't have to do content thousands and thousands of times, like a Destiny, to roll for weapons and do, the same repeated content over and over and over again. It's not set up to be like that. And I think that there is some pros and cons to that. And I think a lot of the cons that a lot of the Endgame community has been alluding to for this is that you run out of things to do, which seems crazy when you have an achievement log that looks ridiculously long, and you've got hundreds of thousands of hours of things that you could do if you wanted to max out multiple characters, multiple skill lines, complete every zone achievement, collect every sky shard, open every lore book, complete every side quest. Just tons and tons of hours. But as far as that specific endgame content, for PvE especially, you really start to run out of actual things to do. And I think it's important to highlight that, because while I do overall support a lot of what goes on in the development of the Elder Scrolls Online, and I overall support the game, and it's my mission to kind of help you guys get into the game, help you understand different mechanisms, help you guys get excited for updates and excited to do different things. I do recognize too that there are caps to things that you can do. Even for PvP, you can only kill so many players before you're like, damn, same Zerglings, huh? But even for PvE, it's the same. You can only run the same trial so many times. And I think that's where the chief complaint is that there's not a lot of flavor and there's not a lot of change, especially when you look at which PvE sets are being used. A lot of the PvE sets that are being recommended and quote-unquote best in slot have been there for a long period of time. The end game is not seeing a shakeup. Now, every time that there is a shakeup and new sets are used for PvE content, people do complain that also. So it's not like if the developers made it to where you had to go grind a new skill line or get new sets, to be, best in slot, that everyone would love that, because it's always a balancing act. Not to go off topic, but that's where I think that the states of the PvE endgame is at, and that's why you will hear about specific endgame players who are either taking a break or kind of looking for different things to do, and that's why you've seen all these articles, or you may have seen a video or two kind of explaining people quitting and people are upset. And not to take away that there aren't people who are, but I also wanted to kind of showcase to you the state of the game, and that It's kind of, this is the highest player base that they've ever had. They have very high active players. Now, it's important to note too that they did have higher player base numbers over the summer. And you might think to yourself, well, that means it's going down, and it is. But it always generally does that. Every year, you'll have higher player population in the summer, and then lower, in the spring and the fall, and then it'll be higher in the winter again. If I get a snow day, even though I'm an essential employee, but let's pretend that my power goes out and I tell them I'm taking a snow day. You best believe that I'm loading up the generator. We're playing ESO. Or if I'm, busy off on a holiday and I have free time, I'm going to load up ESO, make a video stream, spend time with you guys. It's more difficult to do that in the fall and in the spring. More people are working, less vacations and whatnot, and less time off. Kids are back in school, college students are back in college, so the player base is lower currently, and it will go back up, as we hit Thanksgiving and into the holiday season. So it's an important distinction to note too, because I don't know if people are going to watch this video and be like, Jake, you son of a bitch, the player population is lower than it is in the summer. You didn't even talk about it. I'd be like, whoa. I'm not here to pull out the stats on you. I'm just trying to give you guys a little bit of hope. And I think, too, that the biggest thing and the biggest kind of point that I wanted to hit home with this video is that, there's a lot of people who play ESO. There's a lot of solo players. There's a lot of players who play it for specific purposes. And I do think that there are some changes that could be made to endgame content to kind of help freshen it up. Maybe some more drops from, that hard mode content, like mounts that drop. There are a lot of games that you can get, more cosmetics. They could drop more rare furnishings from doing hard modes and trials, things that are worth a lot of gold, more exclusive titles, maybe even more of a twist, because I feel like it's just always your generic trifectas of no death, hard mode, speed run. Maybe they could do, even more kind of crazy challenge modes, where, it's like don't have anyone touch lava, or like little side objectives like they do in a lot of their dungeons, where they have like little side puzzles. Maybe they could even add puzzles that are different every time, so you always have to solve puzzles when they're making new trials. So I think a lot of those things would be very cool. Overall, the game is still in a very healthy state. It's still in a growing state. It's still in the top 10 current MMOs actively played. It fluctuates between 8th and 9th. And I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm very hopeful for the future of ESO. And as an ESO YouTuber, I should probably hope that it succeeds. Even though I fully recognize that if I made a video, bashing the developers, bashing, the community, or bashing, everything, in which way I probably could, get a lot of money. Because for those of you who don't know, you do get a lot of money off YouTube for making videos like that, and people are drawn to videos like that. Will people be drawn to this video? Maybe not. I put the answer in the thumbnail. I did that on purpose. I don't want you to feel like, oh, I'm gypping you by, asking this question like, is ESO dying? And then it's just my take. And then you have to watch, 3 minutes into the video. I want you guys to know up front that the answer is no. ESO is not dying. ESO is one of the most popular game franchises. It's one of the biggest IPs that Bethesda has. It's completely also propped up by the success of Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind, every other spin-off game, every other game that came before Morrowind. I think that there's such a strong base of people who love the game, and there's still such a steady influx of new players because of the changes. They had the Tamriel 1, where they normalized the leveling system so that at level 3 you can go to the newest zones. So they've made so many changes to be so new user friendly that ESO is going to succeed for definitely the moderate term future, unless something crazy happens. And if it did, I would, at least let you guys know. Now, some people don't like, specific game implementations, and they think that the developers could do more about the servers, and they think that they could do more about adding new classes and new races, and I'm sure they would. And if you feel like they should, I think it's important to let the developers know that, you think that the game would do better with those things. And I think the game would do better if there were more rare drops from dungeons and trials. Like, I think that there should be mounts and other cool cosmetic things that drop from doing trials, maybe even mythicals that, drop from doing those harder things. But I understand, too, that they don't like to make essential game items be locked behind super hard content because they want everyone to feel like they can accomplish it, even without having to gather, 11 of their friends or, push for Emperor or do any other sort of crazy hard content to get something that, most people have, because they don't want that entry, to gameplay to be so high that newer players are put off for it. So it is a balancing act, and I overall think that ZeniMax does a very good job by it. I don't know how well this video will do, so if you did watch to this point, I'd appreciate it if you liked the video, because I'm scared people will be upset at me. But I hope my point of view makes sense. I mean, as an ESO YouTuber who loves the community, loves interacting with you guys, and enjoys making videos, and enjoys, highlighting content and answering questions and trying to get better at video editing and development and all these other things just so that I can, continue to do as much good as I can for the community. This wasn't a video that I was like super excited to make, but I also felt like it was necessary. Even if it doesn't do well, I just hope that people see the thumbnail and they go, no, it's not in a bad state. Things are still going well. And I think that, again, any changes that developers can make, I think they will. And so I think that as we kind of go forward in time, they'll continue to push out good updates. And I understand that things like Tales of Tribute might not be super popular amongst everyone. But at the end of the day, they did it how they did most other content. It's not essential, but some people love it. And some people might only play ESO for those aspects of the game, for those MMO type elements. And I do think that additions like Tales of Tribute add very cool MMO like elements. I understand that people want other things, and I think that as we go down the line, we'll get those other things, maybe more races, more classes, more drops, more rewards. The only thing we don't want more of is more non-combat pets. But I'll put all that to the side. If they increase the amount of total furnishings I could put in my house, then ZeniMax, I will praise them until the end of times. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And just as a final quick reminder, I'm putting this at the very end. If you'd like to be entered into the giveaway, all you have to do is leave a comment in the comments below. I always pull 2 winners at the beginning of every month. So December 1st, I'll be pulling 2 winners. And all you have to do is be entered by leaving a comment. And if you're subscribed, I pull a comment for subscribers only as well. So that gives you even better odds to win, because only 33% of you are subscribed. Come on, let's at least make it a D. D's get degrees. D's are what Jake Clips is rated as a YouTuber. Come on, get my percentage to a degree, baby. Let's go. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jake Clips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.
Post outro for those the homies that know to stay. Hope the video was good. I'm always a little bit nervous when I make content like this, but I love the community again. I really appreciate all of you, especially those of you who stay past the outro. So let me know what you guys think about this video and what I can do to help in the future, and I will do everything I can to help. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.